What's up, y'all? I don't have my normal setup like I normally do, my microphone and all like this, but today's been a day. And I want to use my YouTube channel more. So definitely expect some glow up moments. Definitely going to get me a better camera than just my laptop camera. But I just want to check in with you guys. Now, on the actual podcast, the Black Scholars Podcast, we got the America to Me series going. I'm breaking down every one of those episodes, and there are a total of 10. I just recently recorded episode 7, which is technically episode 41 for the podcast. That's going to come out this Sunday. I'm dropping new episodes every single Sunday at 5 a.m. Central Standard Time. And I've gotten a lot of positive feedback. Everybody is really enjoying, loving what's going on with the America to Me docuseries. I know there's a bunch of listeners to the show that might be turned off by that content simply because they might feel like in order to learn something from the episode, in order to get something that would be thought-provoking, they feel like they have to watch the docuseries. And I won't lie, I'm encouraging you to watch the docuseries, but it's not necessary in order for you to get something from the episodes, because I make it very relatable just in case you have not watched it. Like, I'm keeping that in the back of my mind. Like, some people may not have actually seen this docuseries. So regardless, continue to listen to the show. Thank you for listening to the show. But the Black Scholars Podcast is a multi-pronged system. I know for a lot of people, they're just used to podcasts being podcasts. For those who know me or who have gotten to know me over the past 2 years, have realized he's different. And that's very, very true. So I appreciate that. And you'll see just how unique and distinct I am with the different talents and skills that I've got going on. That, again, benefits the entire community. This has nothing to do with me. I'm just following my purpose. I'm just following God's plan for my life. And I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the ride. I'm glad to do it with you. I'm glad to do it for you. And thank you for being part of the community. If you're wondering what I'm wearing, you already know the Excelsior. That is available at the Black Scholars Clothing.com store. So go ahead and check that out. Use promo code SCHOLARS for 15% off. There was something else I was going to say about the clothing line. I totally forgot. What was I going to say? I have a new design. The 4 Keys to Life, or the keys to life, I'm calling it design. But check that out as well on Instagram at Black Scholars Clothing, or on the podcast as an Instagram, which is technically my Instagram, Black Scholars Podcast. Please check that out. And again, use that promo code SCHOLARS for 15% off. All right, let's get to the topic. So, depending where you live, depending what state, city, district, public, private, charter, whatever, you're either about to start professional development, or you still got a little bit of summer left, or you have started. I'm in the latter. So my district has moved the start date back 1 week for kids. It's giving kids 2 options. Option 1, you can do the virtual academy. The virtual academy is a permanent fixture. So this isn't just because of the coronavirus, but definitely created because of the coronavirus, but it's going to be here seemingly forever. And basically with that, kids can go to school virtually for all of their classes. We've got honors classes, AP classes, I'm assuming dual enrollment. And so a kid could be starting kindergarten, like my son will be, but he doesn't go to school in my district. but hypothetically speaking, and graduate from high school through the virtual academy and never physically step foot in an actual school building, which I think is dope with the technology nowadays. And if you've read any scientific article, you should know that the coronavirus might be the start of a plethora of potential viruses and plagues and pandemics. So this is just a start. I don't know if this is the end of the world. I don't know if this is the rapture. I don't know what's going on, but I do know for sure that we have to be smart, we have to be wise, and we have to be proactive, not just reactive. We did a terrible job in America with the coronavirus. So we've got to be proactive, especially in education, because education is still important. The other option is basically 2 days of, teacher to student learning, and then 3 days of remote learning, 2 different groups. So group A goes to school Monday and Tuesday. They're off Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. They're still responsible for remote learning during the days they are at home. And then group B comes in on Wednesday and Thursday, and then they're off 3 days, which would be Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. So if you've been paying attention to the news, I should have my phone with me, but I think it was in Georgia recently, like this week recently. 260 people were sick. Now, I'm assuming that's with students. I have to look at the article. Actually, you know what? Let me pull it up right now. Let me see. 260 Georgia. Yep, here it is. 260 employees at a Georgia school district have tested positive for COVID-19. That was 3 days ago. This is in Gwinnett County Public Schools. So this is during PD. This is fitting. This is what's going on. We've got some schools worldwide that have actually started back, and you have kids getting sick. There was something I read that said, and this was abroad, this was foreign, this was abroad, that it was the highest breakout numbers, and since the coronavirus began, back last year. Now, we didn't really know that it was here, but again, this happened abroad, and so technically COVID-19 is called 19 from 2019. So anyways, and there's other incidents, like even in the Memphis area, I believe at a charter school, there was a teacher who tested positive after the second day of PD. Same thing in my district. Then we had athletes getting sick. So professional development is supposed to be reflective of best pedagogy, best instructional strategies, right? We all would agree. So we know that we should have, if not standards, and there are learning standards according to each Department of Education in your respective state, but we should have a learning objective, and we should have a means to get to that objective. Direct instruction. I do, you follow, you watch, you observe, you take notes. We do, that's your guided practice. Then slowly you let them do independent practice. You make sure they got it. You do several checks for understanding. And then after their independent practice, an assessment. Evaluate, did they learn what they were supposed to learn? And if they didn't, immediately begin to start prompting, cueing. We know this. We know this. We went for school for this. We got degrees in this. We've written books on this. We've read books. We've studied books on this. We've attended conferences for this. We listen to podcasts for this. Like, we know effective instruction. If you've been teaching over a year, including student teaching. So that means if you're in a profession, if you have a contract that says classroom teacher, or maybe you're a leader, but before you became a leader, of course, you're in the classroom, you know this. And I know each school, each district isn't created equal. But here's my thing. We can all relate to pointless faculty meetings, boring district issued professional development, and effective professional development. Professional development, again, is supposed to be reflective of best practices. So let me tell you why I'm a little aggy. A little aggy this evening. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. My agginess stems from they have us 2 times during the day meeting in designated PD, professional development rooms. Everyone's got their mask on. We bring our laptops and we're going through Schoology training, which is PDFs, short technical reports, short video clips, no quiz, no assessment, no checks for understanding, no facilitator, no instructor, no expert, not even an employee that works for Schoology, no expert guru, nobody leading the instruction. We're all highly intelligent. We don't necessarily need someone to lead the instruction. But if it's professional development, you should be adding to my schema. You should be building on my prior knowledge. We've already been using this learning management system. There is nothing that I have learned in the past week and a half, 2 weeks, that I did not know. Zero. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. So I'm really confused why we are there. We got all these cases going on. We see educators have been going to PDs and they're getting sick. We see schools around the world, some of them have started back, and their number of COVID cases has skyrocketed. Why are we back in school? Why? Somebody explain that to me. Because I honestly don't know. We are taking COVID-19. We're not taking it serious enough. People have died from this. People with money, we're talking top 1%, have died from COVID-19. I'm just going to let that sink in. We have people getting ill. You want kids to be around other kids. It's more, we shouldn't pretend like we know things are, we can't pretend like we have all definite facts about COVID-19. And since we don't have that understanding and proof and evidence and consensus, then why are we underreacting? Oh, just put a mask on and stay 6 feet away and everything will be fine. You're telling me in Gwinnett public schools in Georgia, they didn't have masks on? At this professional development, they weren't washing their hands. They weren't sanitizing their hands. They weren't putting on gloves when they need to and changing them out, putting on more gloves. Is that what you're telling me? I don't work for Gwinnett Public Schools, and maybe that's something I need to do. I need to reach out to someone that works in that district because I need to know, how is this potentially attracted? How is this contracted? They might not know. And that's what I'm saying. There's so many variables out there No one should be physically back for PD. I got my classroom ready. It looks great. Still got a few things I need to work on. But why am I getting my classroom ready? Do you think I physically want to be in a building, in an enclosed part of that building, with a window and 4 walls and a door and a bunch of desks separated 6 feet apart, which is very hard to do? And I got desks in there kids can't sit at because they have to be 6 feet apart? We are risking our lives for a paycheck. Now, I'm a single dad. I got 2 kids. I have financial goals. I have debt I'm trying to get rid of. I have a very specific life and lifestyle that I am building toward. I'm just being honest with you guys. So, again, you guys have known me for 2 years now. Black Scholars Podcast, where my people at, you know me. So you know I always got something going on. You know how I do. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It's health over wealth all day long. I'm about my money. I'm about budgeting. I'm about saving. I'm about investing. But none of that matters if I'm sick or dead. None of that matters if I contract the illness and then my kids get it. Let me go from professional to personal really quick. My ex-wife has COVID-19. My kids, one boy, one girl, couldn't be around their own mother because of this illness. This is not something I can play around with. And this is not something you should play around with either. You shouldn't. COVID-19 is real. It's very, very real. And there is no reason why we should be at school going through professional development if the professional development isn't effective. And I have colleagues and cohorts who are at schools and districts where they are physically at the school, but they're in their classroom and they're doing Zoom meetings. Some are at home and they're doing Zoom meetings. That's the best option. Here's my problem with that. Is the Zoom meeting or Microsoft Teams or Skype or whatever software you're using for video conferencing, is the information vital? Is it building on prior knowledge? Is it making your faculty of educators more effective, especially because we're dealing with a situation that we have to be flexible and fluid about? Are you organizing that professional development, which is a lesson, a series of lessons, which should be continuous and supportive and have follow-up and be structured sound to best pedagogical strategies, best instructional strategies for adult learners in this case? Is that how it's being delivered? Because that's not what I'm seeing. That's not what I'm hearing. So what are we doing? Superintendents, school districts, school board members. We know that we're public enemy number one in many cities and states, especially if the school has decided to go 100% virtual. Look, I understand that this economy is based on people going to work. I get that. I get that. And parents have to go to work to pay for their growing family. To participate in this society is expensive. You don't have to preach that to me. I live it every day. And so maybe this is more of a macro issue where if parents have the support where their kids can be safe, not at school, whether that's at home or somewhere else, and they can do so in an affordable way. And for those who can't afford it, there are there's outlets to make that happen. So if we have a family that lives in a Title I school district, they attend a Title I school, there should be additional funding because of the COVID-19, because of the coronavirus, which provides childcare to those parents who are not gainfully employed, so they're gainfully underemployed. They're not being paid a living wage that compensates for the size of their family or the city or market that they live in. That's on the government. And that's also on the schools, school districts, and the state departments of educations to do whatever they need to do to get those funds. The federal government needs to provide those funds. And then that needs to trickle down to our actual communities where this is needed. And I don't work in a Title I school. I'm in an affluent district. I work for an affluent school. Means nothing. Those parents are just as mad. And they can afford it. On paper. They can afford the extra child care. So this is a bigger issue. This is a societal issue that needs to be fixed. That's why I do this. This is what I do. I analyze small things. I give you the big picture. I give you the small picture. But I don't like just talking about things. I don't just like putting, a flashlight on a dark area and exposing it. What are we actually going to do? But school districts and schools need to dramatically improve professional development because we're risking our lives for our careers so we can continue to be effective in the classroom. When it's not safe for us to be in the classroom. It's not safe for us to be in these schools. Matter of fact, now I'm just thinking of this, and I'm just realizing this. There's a third-party cleaning crew that's been there for the past week and a half, 2 weeks, since we've started back. Every educator, faculty member, whatever, has to wear a mask. Only time you can take your mask off is if you're in your classroom or office alone, the door is shut, and you're eating. Or if you're just in the room alone, you can take your mask off. This third-party cleaning crew, and there's several of them, I can't recall them walking through the hallways with a mask on. Now, of course, everyone around them has a mask on, but if you know the science of this thing, you have to have a mask on, the other person has to have a mask on. Whatever little droplets, fluids that's coming out of their nose, their mouth, they're breathing, the mask protects, it keeps that there. That's why we can wear cloth masks, not the surgical kind. We don't need the N95s or the KN95s. We don't need that. You can do fine with cloth. And there's some cloth masks that you can actually put like a filter, like a coffee filter, and that provides more protection, right? But if I have on my mask and you don't have on your mask, and we're within a similar distance, or if you were there and I didn't know you were there, and let's say one of the third-party cleaning crews, let's say one of them sneezed, and so whatever came out of their nose, that lingers in the air for about 14, 15 minutes, right? Here I come. Yeah, I got my mask on, but my eyes are not protected. I don't have goggles on. No one's recommended goggles. I've seen a few articles about that. We technically should be wearing hazmat suits, technically, but we're taking a risk. I'm not willing to die for other people's kids. I love them to death. I love all of my students, and I always love my students. I love what I do. I love being in education. I love my subject. I love English. I love writing. You know I love writing. I'm a writer. Podcasting is a form of writing. It's communication. So we got to do better. Schools shouldn't be open, period. And if they're going to be open and we're going to do professional development for however long, then let the professional development be worth it. Let it be engaging. Let it be compelling. Let it be short and sweet. There should be several breaks. Provide, COVID-19 safe snacks, water, whatever. Hard candy, something. Like we're not getting anything. Like, why am I here? I could be at home making my tea, eating a muffin, too many carbs, eating some pineapples, grapes, drinking my alkaline water, and we can do literally all the same thing. Why am I setting up a classroom where it's not safe for kids to be in there? Listen to me, y'all. Education is a big business. We're in Tennessee. I'm in a Republican state. There's an article in the Tennessee Chalkbeat that says Tennessee is being watched by other states, and basically we're guinea pigs. They're watching to see what happens. So 50% of teachers contract COVID-19, which leads to, because here's the other thing. We don't know what the coronavirus does to us long term. The NBA, which has been effective in their bubble where people are living, eating, trying to enjoy life, and then doing their job, which is playing the game of basketball, 300 plus, and they've been very successful in it. But we don't have a bubble. I am back home. My colleagues are back home. I don't know who's around them. They don't know who's around me. It's a risk. It's an unnecessary risk. We have the technology. This country has the funding. Yes, we're in a recession. Nobody's talking about it. We are. We have the funding. Fund the schools fully. I don't care if it comes from defunding the police. I don't care if it comes from some type of grants. Fortune 500 companies, where are you at? You're taking losses because of coronavirus. Schools should be open. We got businesses that will never exist again. Lives have been changed forever. Yeah, people who were making good strides and changes with their life, and then we got hit with this. This hurts in so many different aspects. But we've got to do the right thing. If you're going to give us PD and we're going to risk our lives, this best be the best PD offered ever in mankind, in our history. Stop boring us by having us hop on a computer where we're not even interacting with anyone else. We're not discussing about this. We're not talking. Even the learning is ineffective. That's not how we learn. So, like I said, I'm going to start going live a lot more on YouTube because I like this stuff. Everybody goes live on Instagram a lot, and I don't want to see anybody live on my Instagram. I just don't. Y'all not talking about anything. And I promise, anytime I get on here, it's going to be very specific. Very, very specific. So again, thank you for listening to the Black Scholars Podcast. Check out blackscholarsclothing.com. Use the promo code Scholars. I'll talk to y'all next time. I'm out.